What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of In His Design Podcast. I am Kike with
Alonso Jimenez
and very special guest,
Wendy Reyes.
Again, guys, we are back here with another episode of In His Design, and today we have Wendy Reyes, who is a confirmation teacher. She's been in ministry for how many years, Wendy?
Ooh, I would say about 5 years. No, since 2018.
Wow. Okay, so it's been a while. Yeah. So again, guys, as always, first before we get to know more about Wendy, we'd like to get into Bible reflection of the week, and today comes from Psalm 118, verse 6. And Alonso, if you can help me with that one for this week, please.
Yes. The Lord is with me. I will not be afraid. What can mere mortals do to me? Word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Gloria a Dios.
Yeah, so Wendy, as always, we always ask our guests if they can help us and give us a little reflection on what we just read. And also for any of our viewers out there, if you guys can, write it down, read it, use it for the week, see what the Lord is telling you with this Bible scripture. But today, as always, we give our guests that opportunity to see what the Lord is telling them. And Wendy, go right ahead.
So with this psalm, one of the words that stands out to me the most is afraid. And at the end, it ends with, what can mere mortals do to me? So for me, with this, it actually reminds me of a few occasions where I get an idea. And usually it's an idea of something that has to do with, bringing souls to Christ, just involving myself more in ministry and things like that. And for some reason, after that idea, the next thing that comes next is fear. It's fear of, what if it doesn't work out? Or maybe it's not a good idea. Or what are people going to think? Or is this even going to work? And it's just like a ball of doubts going through my mind. And so then in those moments, thankfully, once I catch that I'm being afraid, that's when I turn to God and I just start to ask him, what is this? Is this from you, Lord? Is this what you want from me? If it is, and open the doors, bring up those opportunities for me. And then with his grace, I can do it, and thankfully there have been a lot of things that followed from fear. It was his grace that followed, and I gained the confidence to be able to do it, thanks to God. And since then, it's brought me here in this ministry now for about 5, almost 6 years. And it's, as long as it's God's will, I know God's protecting me, and there's nothing to be afraid of as long as it's his plan.
Amen. Thank you, Wendy.
Mm-hmm.
That was beautiful. Mm-hmm. So I know. So how long have I been asking you to come on the show, Wendy? Like maybe a month already?
Yes, a month in advance. And I felt the pressure, and I was like, oh man, I have a few retreats coming up. I was like, but I'm not gonna do this to Jose.
No, yeah. So she actually was in the radio station with myself. Well, I was helping produce the show with her and 2 other young women, which was bilingual, right?
Yeah, it was bilingual.
Wendy, yeah, so it was a bilingual show.
Mm-hmm.
Basically more focused on young adults. Trying to get them closer to God. Try to speak to them in a language where it's what attracts younger people, but at the same time, following the faith. So Wendy, I know I just brought that up. So right now, for you, right? So tell us, right now, what exactly are you doing for ministry?
For ministry, as of, it's been maybe 3 years participating in the Ministry of Confirmation. And before I was in a young adult group, I was helping to coordinate. But that ended about a year ago. So now my main priority and focus has been confirmation with the youth, with the teenagers. Right now I have a class of with juniors and seniors.
Cool. So it looks like you're busy, right, with confirmation, and you have another ministry, which is a pro-life ministry, right?
Yes. Well, I am part of. I don't have an exact group name, but I work at a pregnancy crisis center, and then from there, I've been gaining a lot of knowledge about help for mothers in crisis. I've been learning a lot about abortion, what that consists of, just so many things. And I've actually gotten the opportunity to share a lot of that knowledge I've learned with even young adult groups as well as my confirmation class.
Awesome. So, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here, but just to kind of kick it off, right? So how did this all come to be, right? How did the Lord call you to all this? Was it a retreat, personal experience? How did the Lord get you to this point?
Well, it was definitely, I think, like most of us, he comes at a time where it's not very bright outside. There's a lot of struggles, and so that was me. And so in this moment of crisis, where in just my personal life, everything just feels like a disaster as far as relationship, family, just my self-worth. I wake up one day and next to my pillow, there's a flyer for a young adult retreat, which was for JUC, for the parish of St. Louis of France in La Puente. And so my mom told me, she's like, why don't you take your 2 younger cousins to this retreat? And so I invited them. They lived in Vegas. They still live there. And so their parents, they gave them permission. They were minors at the time. But since I was going to accompany them, they were able to go. So all 3 of us go. An hour before it was time to leave, I actually got very discouraged. I called my mother and I said, Mom, there's a lot of things going on right now. I think it's a really bad time for me to go to this retreat. Why don't I just send my little cousins? But my mom brought me back to reality and she told me, hey, any problems that are happening right now, don't worry. They're going to be waiting for you when you get back. So you might as well go. And so I go, and that's where I felt the Lord's love and his call to that if I want to see change, I needed to change first.
Yeah. So kind of more of like, even if you don't go to the retreat, there's still things out there that await you, even without the retreat. Right. So I guess like in a way, a wake up call, more of like, hey, life is going to be hard, no matter what. You can't escape it. But yeah, no, I guess it's like more of like that motherly advice, right? That kind of just gets to you.
Yeah, she's always been very blunt and direct with me. And so she knew what I was going through, but she just thought like, hey, there's never a good time, it seems like, right? But she was like, just go on this retreat and just see what happens. And I went, and yeah, it's changed my life, definitely.
That's amazing.
So yeah, like mother knows best, right? Our mother's always wanted the best for us.
Yes.
And she knew, in her mother intuition, that if you go or not for that day, your problems are going to still wait you. But how about get an opportunity to get some more tools under your belt, right?
Yes.
Which is God in your life.
Definitely. So
to face those problems. So yeah, our mothers always know best.
Our mothers
and that's awesome, that you listen to your mom, because that's one of our commandments, right? To honor and respect our parents. And what better way than to actually obey them when they're asking us to do something. And you listen to your mom, follow the commandment, and I'm assuming the Lord had to bless you because you're here.
Yes.
You say 5-6 years later, you're serving.
I'm serving.
It's even your job now, right?
Yes, I love my job.
One of your ministries is part of your job, and no, that's very, very awesome. Very encouraging for people that are listening to us, or just the YouTube algorithm showed them this episode, and they're listening to your story. Very, very important. So just talk to us a little bit about that first group that was introduced to you. How was that? How was life with that ministry? The happy moments, the sad moments. How was that for you?
JUC, man, they are in my heart for always, because they're just so many things started to happen, both good and bad. But now I see that it was all part of a way to cleanse me from just my past and just really bad habits. So at the same time, the Lord, he was trying to make me better. He was trying to teach me the way, and in order to follow him, I had to also learn how to let go of a lot of worldly things that were causing me harm, physically and mentally as well. And so the retreat, after the retreat and I came back, so the group, it was every Friday after that, I was just still, I didn't really want to be social or anything like that, but I did decide to go back on the Friday. And it's funny because the group, they always start with alabanzas, worship music. And so I made it a point to make sure to show up at least 15-20 minutes after group started, so that I wouldn't be having to be involved in all that singing and things like that. So I would just go just to hear the talk for that day. And then right when it was over, I would leave. I would practically run out of the building. But thankfully, there was a lot of sweet people that I hold very dear to my heart that would, invite me to go on the Friday, or they would just check in, see how I'm doing. And they would actually try to get me more involved. And the Lord knew how to get my attention, because I didn't want to be in the front. I didn't want to be speaking publicly. I like working behind the scenes. And so my friends, they would actually invite me to help with the creativity. Decoration. Help us with decoration. Like, help us take pictures. I love taking pictures. So little by little, I started to get more involved. And then they started planning a retreat. And then that's when they asked me if I wanted to serve. And so I was so busy at the time working for a family business. And so there's not really a time to leave work. So I would be there all day. But I said, okay, I'll go serve. What do you need? And they said that just take pictures of all the people going to a retreat, just try to catch moments, help us decorate. And I went ahead and did that. And then once I left the retreat, once I saw people, their reactions, seeing the other side, right? Because first I lived it and then now I'm serving it. So seeing that side of serving, I fell in love. I wanted to serve God. I wanted to be part of that change in people's lives, of witnessing their encounter with God and then how he heals them, because that's, how it started with me. So I knew right then and there, I was like, oh, I want to serve. I don't want to live a retreat again, but I want to serve. And then that's where that started for about 1.5 years. And then I just continued to be very involved in the group, trying to help in any way that I could. And later on, it was presented the opportunity to coordinate the group. And I was very afraid. So that verse actually reminded me of the one we read earlier for Psalms. I was afraid because I thought, wow, this is a really big responsibility. I see that the leaders, they put a lot of time in, a lot of effort into what they do. And they have aside, of course, their jobs, Monday to Friday, sometimes weekends, and yet they find the time to still show up for God and to serve him. And so I knew it was going to be a commitment, but I could feel God just pushing me. And then the story of Moses would actually come to my mind a lot, because he was afraid to follow God's will, but God gave him that grace, that little push, and he told him, like, I'm gonna be with you. It's gonna be him getting things done. You just have to give your yes. And so I gave my yes and served for almost 2 years. We organized a few retreats, met a lot of new people, and I kept falling in love, of course, with the service. And of course there was hard times as well. Just like I think any of us, we're all human. We're not perfect. And so, yeah, that was a journey.
For our listeners out there, how was, jumping from being part of the ministry, jumping onto the leadership? What was one of the challenges that you had encountered?
Well, one of the challenges but it was a fun challenge, because I remember one of our spiritual guides for the leaders, the priest, he was such a sweet father. He told us, look, your only goal here is to bring souls to Christ. And so that was the only thing that was on my mind always. And anything we did, I was like, okay, how can we bring souls to Christ? Like, how are we going to bring these young adults here? Like, what's going to attract them to want to know more about God? And so you have to think, okay, what are they up to right now? The young adults, like, what are they into? What are they doing? A lot of technology, things like that. So I started getting involved, posting on social media more, on the group's Instagram, trying to do a few more things like that. And it was definitely challenging, just to help. Sometimes we need people, to help encourage the young adults. And it's work, to be outside the parish, to be inviting them, like invite them to the retreats. Just the organizing part was sometimes a little difficult.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Myself, I've been involved in a lot of the ministries that you were part of. In a community, Our Lady of the Rosary in Paramount. And usually my biggest challenge has been, well, two of them is the new leadership, because they were, underage. They want to join leadership, but when they're hitting 18, they're graduating, and either they're going to college far away, they're deciding what kind of job they have. So it was very like every year, except for the few of us that were a little bit older, every year was new leadership as far as the younger generation, because they'll be there for a year or two and then they were gone.
And then they're off to college.
They're off to college or a job somewhere else. That was one of our bigger ones, but the biggest one was always the broader community. Like, they always looked at us as we're that ministry that's really not producing anything. Like we're kind of wasting time in the hall.
Wow.
But somebody told me if they're talking about you, they're criticizing you, it's because you're doing a good thing, and you're bothering, the people that shouldn't be there, right? Like, the demons are getting bothered. You're stirring up the pot, So to me, that was a good thing, like, well, the community doesn't like me, and I have a hall full of kids, because we started in a little room.
Oh, wow.
Where we were just jamming there, so we had to ask for the hall, so where we can actually, play, and have room for even a band. And so it was 40 to 80 kids. It fluctuated.
80, wow.
Usually in the summer it was up to 80. When it came back to school, all go down. A lot of them have sports, or that's when they'll leave to after graduation. They left. But it was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful ministry. I don't know if you guys have encountered that where like a lot of the problems seems to come from the church itself, because they're not really believing in what you guys are doing. I don't know if you guys ever encountered that.
Well, fortunately, when I started coordinating there, we were very spoiled. They said, okay, anything for the young adult group. Wow. So we always had access to the biggest room. We had all the support. We just, of course, had to be in communication, and we just, had to ask like for permission for certain things, and of course, to be out of there by 9 p.m., which hardly ever happened. But they were so, they were very supportive. Our community was very, very supportive. It was just, mainly just the organizing part. New ideas to try to bring in the young adults, because actually we started during after COVID. So it was really hard. We actually had a retreat once, doors opened back up, and we were able to, attend mass just with our face masks. And we were trying to have a retreat, and it was really hard because people were like, should we all get tested, or, maybe we shouldn't do this because it's just also recent. So there was actually a lot of challenges, but it was mainly because of that, because there was so much fear in the world. But we had already done so many Zoom meetings, and it was just getting old. People were wanting to go outside. They were going to go to the beach to go hang out with friends. We're like, hey, we need to do this now. So thankfully, God made it possible. So that was definitely one of the challenges after the pandemic. It was a big hit, I would say, for all the groups. A lot of groups didn't actually come back from that, and some they started very small, and so that was actually one of the biggest challenges during that time, and then towards the end as well.
That's crazy. And I mean, sorry, Alonso, I didn't mean to interrupt you real quick, but just seeing that you guys, how did I say? COVID, right? COVID was happening, everything was going on, and just seeing that you guys' ministry was active, like early 2021, right? Is that
it was very early. It was for Valentine's. It was a Valentine's Day retreat. It was in February.
Because it was in the parish, right? The retreat?
Yeah, it was at the parish hall.
Okay, yeah. And I mean, just seeing that, I was just like, oh man, like these people are on fire. Just seeing that, because everybody else, like they were still doing Zoom stuff, right?
Yeah, they were doing Zoom. Some of them were not allowed to have a group day either, so there was rules that, so they were just trying to follow also, and just the fear.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. Like those human things, right? You know, you're always gonna be worried about these things, right? I mean, Alonso knows when I was scared of, the what's it called, the Calvary Project, but just going back to it real quick, just seeing that it really got me excited, seeing how you guys were still doing things, right? I mean, I felt like you guys really weren't bothered by that. I mean, I'm sure you guys had members who were kind of like, oh man, like should we really do anything, as you mentioned?
Yes.
But not just that too, but also seeing like the way that the pastor was supporting you guys, right? And how he kind of gave you guys a runaway to do stuff, right?
Yeah.
Maybe other parishes, their pastors might have been like, oh, you know what, let's hold off like a few more months. But I think that was a blessing, seeing how the Lord gave you guys that opportunity, to show other ministries out there. It's like, hey, we can still do something. Yeah, there's setbacks, there's stuff going on, but we can still do something.
No, yeah, definitely. It was definitely a big blessing in disguise, just how everything worked out. Because I was getting calls from other groups, and they're like, "They gave you permission? Like us, we can't even get together for group." And I was like, "Yeah, so we have to, take advantage of this. People are already going out of their houses. They were going to restaurants. Like they were already going out. So I was like, why can't we have a retreat?"
Exactly. Yeah. No. Yeah. That was amazing to see.
Yes, it was a big blessing.
I got a question. So your group the one that had that Valentine's event right after COVID, like when churches started opening?
I mean, I believe it was, because the whole theme was for Valentine's.
It was with what's it with Incorrupto?
No, there was another one, but that was like a panel. Yeah,
okay.
But that was later on. That was already
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my youth group actually ended. I had walked away. And it ended. The original big group ended, and we started a new one, and it was more in English. And we were having about 15 kids, and COVID hit right in maybe 4 months into it, and but by the time COVID ended, these kids were adults. So we really we ended the group because we were gonna start with zero kids.
Yeah, with zero
kids, because they were all adults now. Wow. It ended with COVID. My confirmation teaching ended with COVID because I wasn't comfortable teaching through Zoom. It was very, very hard, very challenging.
Especially to get the young, the youth to pay attention.
Turn on the camera. Half of my class was turn on the camera. Please mute when because they were like eating cereal because it was still at 8 a.m. Oh, they were eating,
they're laying down.
Yeah. Please turn on the camera. Please stop eating. And if you're eating, turn off, put it on mute. And I told my confirmation teacher, from being like something really, really fun that I enjoyed, it turned into like a headache.
Yeah.
And I can't even teach them. Maybe if one of you guys have better training than me on, video calling, take over my class, but I can't come back next year. I don't want to be the bad teacher, Yeah,
it's because you're there to serve, and it's natural to want to give. So when you feel like you're not giving, it is painful.
It's unfair for whoever's
and it's unfair
receiving,
exactly.
Right, whoever's receiving it's unfair that me as a teacher can't give them what I should be giving them.
Yeah.
So I told my director I can't do it anymore. And from that after COVID, I went more. Ended up being on the digital side anyways, but not teaching. Now more of this stuff. But no, that's awesome that your group, because a lot of groups, a lot of people were even lost in their faith after COVID. But that's awesome that your community stays strong.
Yes, I'm very grateful that they stayed strong, especially. And, it was funny because right before COVID started as well, that weekend before that Monday that came and they said, everybody inside your homes, we were living a retreat in Big Bear. So we were up in the mountains, and then we literally came home the next day, everybody stay inside your homes. So we were able to get that strength at the retreat and just be on fire for the beginning of this pandemic that we didn't know how long it was going to last. So it was like a preparation as well.
So you guys made it to I'm saying you made it to the retreat?
Yeah.
We didn't. My church, we were literally 2 hours before the retreat.
Yeah.
We weren't sure. So we all showed up. And when the buses were there and we were about to start loading, the priest comes out and says, the diocese has closed everything and legally I cannot let you go anymore.
Wow. That Friday before?
That Friday, I still remember the day. March 10 of 2020 was a Friday.
Wow.
My confirmation class, the one that I was able to teach fully 2 years, did not get the 2-year retreat. We had to deny the retreat as they were getting into the bus.
Up.
Yeah.
I can't. That's the same day that we left as well.
Yeah, but our priests.
It's just like spiritual battles. They were going through their times to see like what decision, because it falls on them as well. So, wow.
Our priests, we nearly lost them, and it's because he wanted to give confessions. So we helped build this booth.
Oh.
We built him a booth.
Yeah.
He's but he ended up getting sick anyways, and he ended up in the hospital. So, but he was trying. He was really trying. He was doing confessions. he was doing masses through the car. He would climb on top of the restroom to do an altar so everybody could see him. So our priest was trying, but
oh, he sounds like just a really cool priest.
well, he's young. He's a young priest.
He was trying everything,
and he was just trying to towards the middle of 2020. Maybe around the summertime, he got really sick through COVID, that he was in the hospital for a long time. And when he came back, he came a little bit more fragile and was like, well, let's not do confessions. I'm sorry. We'll still do mass in the cars. But we our kids, we didn't give them that retreat.
Yeah. Oh, wow. It's just, it was just so many things to discern in that moment.
Yeah.
Because it was, a lot of battle. It was a lot of fear. It was so unknown for us too. I think, I believe the coordinators at that time, they were debating maybe an hour before the bus left, like, should we go or not go or not go? And thankfully it was a go. It was a green light, and we left.
Maybe you guys left earlier than us, because we were supposed to leave around 5-6.
We
you guys left early, huh? Yeah. The call
if
was,
we would have waited, maybe they would have
The call
stalled.
was made to all the churches.
Oh,
you guys were probably already up there when the call was made to the church.
Yeah, possibly, because we tried to leave early to beat traffic.
Yeah.
So
It was too late then after all. Yeah.
For us, it's always been, because I don't know, I guess the community, a lot of families work, so it's harder to take their kids at 9 or 10 a.m. right?
That's true.
But yeah, our kids, we were like, I know the bus is here, but the priest literally just told us right now not to do it. Yeah, and that's why I say I always remember that date where we literally shut down the church for
Everything
our kids.
just got shut down. So that Friday they shut down.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because we were up there and we had no idea what was
probably
going
when you
on.
came back, you found out it was shut down.
Yeah. No, well, it was the following day, right, where it was like orders, like for actual
Saturday.
like
No masses.
No, was it Monday? That Monday they came,
I think
right?
well the orders, I remember they came in on a Sunday. Because I remember I was a sacristan for my parish, and I had the 8 p.m. mass. So when we were there, I walked into the sacristy, getting ready, and the priest, he walked in, and he told us like, hey, like, what do you guys think is gonna happen? And we're like, we don't know. Like, we're kind of worried that they're gonna close the churches, and I'm sure he probably knew something. He just didn't want to say anything.
Yeah.
And when I got home, I saw on Facebook that Archbishop Gomez, he sent a letter saying like, hey, we're gonna be closing down the churches, for a few weeks or
2 weeks
or 2 weeks, right? We're gonna be closing, or we're gonna be stopping all services throughout the whole diocese for 2 weeks.
Wow.
And obviously those 2 weeks turned out to become like what?
3 years,
like 2-3 months. Because I remember in St. Louis of France,
it was a year though.
Yeah, like a year. But like, I remember in St. Louis of France, like maybe July, right? That's when they started continuing, or they came back.
Oh, it was so beautiful.
Like
I think
public?
we were outside. Yeah.
Yeah. Mass was
Also,
outside.
Mass itself was closed for like maybe 2 weeks, where they didn't know what to do. But that's when they came up with like, let's do it in the car. Let's do it through Facebook Live or
live stream. Yes, exactly.
Or I don't know. Everybody bought a little radio thing for the church to like say, if you log on to this on your car, you can listen to it. Yeah, because that was like
the drive-in theaters, right?
Kind of.
Wow.
So, but like physically, the church was closed for over a year.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, we're good. Sorry.
We're all good.
Say it again. The church was closed for a few years.
So the church was physically closed for over a year, I think, where we couldn't go to,
we couldn't receive the body of Christ.
No, with us they were giving it. You had to stick out your handle out of your car, which I didn't like.
It's so different because there was a few.
Everybody was different.
Yeah, there was just some parishes where they're like, "Oh, go to the parking lot," and it's
for us was the parking lot.
Yeah, it was so different.
Some people had their own thing, right?
And some people they just they couldn't.
Yeah. Some priests like Ryan was climbing on top of the because the restroom is behind the church, so it's facing the parking lot. Oh, wow. So that's why he would climb on top and give mass through there. And I didn't realize it because I parked one day and I was like, I'm listening to the mass, and I look up and I'm like, is that father up there with an altar? I figure he was inside of the mass, like the church, and doing it by himself, right? I was like, oh man, that's so cool. That shows how much interest he has in us, that he still wants to be part of us.
So creative. No, yeah. And I feel for all of the priests because they definitely went through a tough period as well, making all these decisions because it was, of course, a decision that was affecting the community. So, it's really hard to know, like, oh, what church is doing this, what church is doing that, which one's offering this, which one's not.
Yeah. It was a network.
It was a network. It was everything was unknown.
Confession.
It was chaotic. Yeah, it was chaotic. Yeah,
it was so chaotic. But wow, for a lot of us. Well, I'm sorry that I don't want to speak for all, but for me, I know it was definitely a time where my faith grew immensely, like immensely. I was so gifted with the priests at our parish. They were just still giving us, they're spiritual guides. So they were always giving us these beautiful homilies, just motivating us. And in that moment, for that hour, it felt like you forgot about the pandemic because it was just so focused on the word of trusting God, God's love for us, about having no fear. And so it was definitely a period of so much strength from the Lord.
Well, a few of us ended up doing I call it an underground group. We will literally meet up after maybe 6 months that the church physically was closed. We started meeting up. We're like we're okay. We're as long as we're healthy and we know we haven't been in contact with anybody because this is where even at work was hard to have contact with people. Yes. We will meet at different churches. We couldn't different houses. Open up, Bible study, music, prayer. And to me, it kind of connected me to like maybe more like the earlier church, or like a church of persecution.
Yes,
right. Because remember, even Protestant churches that were disobedient, you remember they were getting shut down by the government.
Oh yeah,
the ones that were opening.
Yes.
So we were kind of like the underground church. I was like, oh my God, like I met a lot of people till this day. I still talk to them because we met at that point where it was.
It was like a special connection, because you guys are all living similar things. So in underground, wow.
Yeah, it's crazy because I mean, even like through COVID, like socially, right, through social media, I met a lot of people, like a lot of Catholics around me, that were very active before, especially because I guess during COVID, everybody or a lot of people got very creative on social media, especially like Catholic content creators that started doing these things, videos, stuff like that. So it was pretty cool, checking that out. But, again, like I got to know more people because I think I didn't meet him, but like Alonso, right? I got to, see more of him in Incorrupto when he was in Incorrupto. Maybe when did he join? 2021? No, I'm 2024. Maybe, it was like 21, right?
July around 2021.
Yeah, because I started seeing the content. I was like, okay, like they're doing stuff, and other places are doing their thing too, right? So I'm like, oh, like that's good that they're getting active on social media, right? And I mean, obviously, it does stink that as Catholics we started getting more involved on social media, just because of a pandemic. I wish it could have been like a healthier reason why we got more active on social media instead of waiting for a pandemic. But I just seen how many Catholics were just their faith getting more reignited. It was very beautiful. But at the same time, I think COVID kind of also
Did a lot of harm.
Did a lot of harm in a lot of people's faith. You know, I've heard this saying a lot. You know, I don't know how people would take it when they hear it, but they're saying like, you know, maybe COVID is separating the weed from the what's it called? Alonso, help me out with the word.
Well,
the weed from the what's it called?
Yeah, like the people that were just going for tradition over the people that were going with conviction.
There you go. Yeah.
I said it many times. I was one of those people that struggle. Because my group that I had at that moment already. I mean, I've been out of high school forever or college forever. That my group was literally people from service.
Yeah.
And our group got shooken a lot. Our group lost half of our members. Wow. As far as, you know, being cool with each other. Yes. Life happened, and so my life changed a lot. I saw church a little bit different for a little bit. I was shooken by it too. You know, my beliefs were tested. And let's say they were not going the right way. Yeah. Even though I've been in service since I was 17, 32 years old, I was wondering, do I really belong in the Catholic Church? I haven't gone to a physical church in so long, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of people stopped going to church. You know?
Yeah, a lot of people still haven't came back, then you know, I feel like a lot of division began actually as well. Yeah. You know, between like the pro backs and, you know, so there was a lot of division in the church as well. And
you know, division on a bunch of things, right? I mean, obviously 2020 was like, I mean, I don't want to get political, but it was like an election year, right? So there's a lot of division even there between Catholics, you know, division amongst the vaccines, division amongst all these different topics. And I think that really harmed a lot of Catholics, you know, especially many that I knew, many people that I respected, you know, just the way that they kind of pushed me to the side just because I was like, hey, you know, we shouldn't be doing those things. Like, oh, no, it's fine. You know, the Lord wants us. Like, well, you know, we got to be careful, right? We got to pray for it instead of just going with what our gut is telling us. You know, we got to see what the church has been telling us for a long time, but also see what the Lord is telling us at the moment, right?
Yeah, and then of course, you know, having compassion with those around us, because of course, you know, like a lot of people were very affected. A lot of them lost family members as well. So it's definitely, it was a really hard time, very, very hard time, you know, because there's just so much division, but at the same time, you feel for them because a lot of it was coming with pain, and it was coming with fear as well.
Exactly.
And it was hard to stand your ground. Like, so if you weren't for the shot, you know, or even masks, you were told a lot of mean things. And for me, it was always, I need to follow we need to follow my conscience, you know. At the end of the day, I can't tell someone like do it or don't do it, but please don't tell me, like, if I don't want to get it, please don't tell me to do it. Yeah.
What to do.
Exactly, because it was my conscience. I would have felt in my relationship with the Lord, maybe I would have felt like I was maybe going against, you know?
Yeah. And it's more of like, you know how you said compassion, right? It's more of like, hey, I don't agree on that, but I'm not forcing what I believe in your, like, I'm not shoving it down your throat, right? Exactly. Now you're coming here and you're telling me what you believe in. You know, when I clearly also disagree with you, but I'm not telling you what to do. So I guess like how you said, like compassion to try to work on that and, you know, try to say it in a nice way instead of like, oh, you're wrong. Like I'm doing this, right?
It was just compassion. on both ends. And unfortunately I saw a lot of, attacks if you weren't for it, you know, so. You weren't for the shot. So.
Yeah, it was a lot of things going on. Yeah.
A lot happened. We could do mini episodes on that. The good thing that I saw out of it, the church was getting kind of weak. We were kind of getting on the woke agenda, but I feel like when all those lukewarm people were tested and the ones that left, because we kind of we were shook into the core that we were like, you know what, the church is losing people, but even the people that are inside, you know, we talk about the statistic. The people right now in the church, even though we lost a lot, only 25% of the people believe in the true presence of the Eucharist right now, and that's out of the people that we still have in the Catholic Church. And I see right now the church, a lot of people, what's the word? Did not agree with the Pope. And still don't agree with the Pope, but I think the Pope right now, he's becoming more clear that the church is not going to change. You know, it hasn't changed. Why change now? But yeah, till this day, you know, the Pope's a little bit of.
Well, I think
the word is he's a little, I don't want to say misleading, but the news that come out of the Vatican are the ones that are being misleaded.
And then the news, like
the news
mixes words when obviously he's trying to tell us something.
Exactly.
You have these other forms of communication, like mixing the Holy Father's words. You know,
I feel like the teaching and the word is very clear, but sometimes, like you said, it's the news outlets or just people just going off of their own opinion and beliefs, and they try to kind of manipulate it or try to word it different. So I mean, the thing I do know for sure is we definitely have to pray for our church. We have to pray for Pope Francis. I love a lot of the things he shares. I feel like he's very humble, but we have to pray. And then not only that, I feel like our church, it has to be shaken every now and then.
Yeah.
You know, we have to, because we are always, even us, you know, as humans, we want to always get to a comfortable state. Yeah. But it's, you know, the end game is not here on earth. Exactly, so it's, you know, if you're too comfortable, I feel like something's up.
Something's wrong.
Something's up.
You're not doing enough novenas. You're not doing
or maybe even service work, you know,
you're like not servicing.
Yeah, we're not servicing others. And I don't speak about just like you know, feeding the poor and things like that. I speak about like actual like trying to serve others just in different ways, that, you know, reaching out to people, seeing how they're doing, how can you help them, taking the time to help maybe them get connected to organizations that are going to help them. So it's, we definitely needed that. I think that shaking, it definitely taught me and made me actually see compassion for others as well.
Amen. So now let's talk a little bit about your confirmation, you know, as a catechist. How has that been? Any good or good surprises, bad surprises?
For confirmation, I really love confirmation, and I love it because it's very challenging. It's good challenging, and it's also bad challenging. Sometimes I leave class just feeling like, wow, like today was such a good class, and then sometimes I leave and I just feel like a failure. I'm like, I failed them, Lord. Like, ugh. But it's challenging, and I tell the kids, I'm like, you know, I'm here to learn from you guys as well, because they teach us so many things. Like, you know, because of them, I've learned to hear them out, to see what they're going through, like what interests, what's going to catch their interest. How can we talk about God? How can we involve God in their life? You know, because I'm an adult, I live different. They're going to school. A lot of them are involved in sports. A lot of them, like, they're in relationships, you know. A lot of them are going through anxiety, depression. And so I really try to see what they're going through, what world they're in right now. What's their world look like? And then see how we can involve God in their world.
Yeah. When I was, the last class I taught was 2020. We literally did their confirmation, where it was one kid and then their family lined up 5 feet away from each other behind them, and then 5 feet this to the right was another student with their family. You know, and it was very like, I was masked, I was with gloves, you know, the kids were like that too, and very uncomfortable, you know, very surreal. But that was my last confirmation experience as far as teaching a class. But I did love it as well. I don't know how you guys do it, but I was running 2 classes. I was going to mass with my first class, mass 8 o'clock, teaching from 9 to 10:30, and then mass at 11, and teaching from 12 to 1:30. year 1 and year 2. So I was there the whole
That was your whole day.
It was a whole day of work on Sundays.
Yeah.
Like a whole shift, and but I loved it. I like you said, I will ask them questions too. Like I was interested in their lives as much as I was interested for them to learn about God.
Yes.
And my challenge was always, I need you to learn the sacraments, and the importance of the sacraments. I need you to fall in love with God, and know who this Jesus guy is, because
Jesus guy.
well, that's how they'll tell me. What's up with that Jesus
love that,
guy?
though. I love that. Yeah.
I like to talk like them, or that Jesus dude. They'll tell me he's kind of like a hippie.
Dude with the long hair.
I never saw him like that. I always saw him as like the teacher. Very. What was that, Kike?
I said, dude with the long hair.
The dude with the long hair, sandals.
Yeah, but I love that because you have to learn to speak their language, right?
So, and then these curveballs that they'll throw at me, like with relationships. I'm like, how old are you? You're getting into these types of problems? I'm like, I only heard about those problems because I try to keep my relationships clean.
Yeah. Wow.
And I'm trying to keep this rated G, rated God.
Of course, but these kids are,
and they're living it. And my challenge was not the kids. My challenge was the parents.
Oh.
The parents, I will complain to their parents. Hey, your kid is 16, 17, and he doesn't know the Our Father. And they'll be like, well, it's your fault. I'm like, I'm sorry, you had him for 16 years. My parents, one of the first things I learned as soon as I learned how to speak was, here's how you say the Our Father. That was me. And now you're telling me that it's my fault that you haven't taught him for the past 16 years how to pray. The basic prayers, But yeah, I always challenge them. I will always make them open up the Bible and read popcorn. And even like the shyest person, I will tell the shyest person, you're gonna appreciate this, because one day you're gonna be hopefully in an office setting, and you're gonna be asked to present something, and you're gonna be somewhat comfortable because right now I'm pushing you. I'm like, I'm looking for your best interest for your future. Exactly. I'm like, I'm working in a professional environment. My teachers never pushed me. I was that shy kid. Well, I wasn't even the shy kid. I was a troublemaker. I was a troublemaker in confirmation that my teacher did not want to even look at me. And now I'm teaching because something happened in confirmation that sparked my
it was your
love for service.
Yeah, you were such a troublemaker that it was just like, okay, now you're gonna have to. This is your purgatory for
15 years of confirmation.
There you go, exactly.
No, I always tell people, you guys, when I will see the troublemakers, I was like, you guys are my penance, because I was worse than you. I was like, because I already knew, I had done a Bible study before high school, so like I already knew what they were teaching, but I would always challenge them and make them look, not the best. So like, you guys are my penance, because I was worse than you guys, but there's two of you.
But that's the awesome thing, is that it's through your testimony. You were that troubled kid, and then you were able to speak to these troubled kids now, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like God, he always has a way of doing that. He brings us close to the people who maybe have had similar experiences to help each other out, be that big brother, big sister.
No, yeah, and usually that trouble kid, I will end up being their godfather. Yeah, because they couldn't find anybody, because none of the adults in their life wanted to take that responsibility. Yeah, and I was like, good, and I'll take it. Unfortunately, it always gets lost, but for at least the first 2-3 years, I'm on them. But then they hit college, and that's where I usually lose connection with them.
It's tough.
But I'm on them, and I usually, when I see the parent come back towards the end of the year and they're like, hey, mister, we want to talk to you about something, I'm like, okay, I'll be the godparent. I know the question.
Like, I'm waiting for it. I want to be.
I want to be his godparent for at least, I know, for the next 3-4 years that he'll give me a chance on. And to this day, I see the kids, they still go to mass.
Wow.
Because we taught them, we gave them the attention they needed. I always tell, if you're giving me, I'm like, you can give me hell in class, but please do not do it in mass. If you do it in mass, I'm gonna give it back to you because I want to teach you
He's so
the
revengeful.
reference. No, I wanted them to get like the most important thing in the Catholic faith is mass. So
you wanted them to understand, like to know the seriousness. Like it's just like, hey, even in class, it's not right for you to get like loud and rowdy.
I'll let it go.
Do not like mass is just a time. It's not about you. It's about him.
Yeah, and I'm like, if you guys only knew what's going on, which is a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Of the living God sacrificing himself.
It's a resurrection.
For us, a sacrifice in a resurrection. And it's more important to, like, I don't know, poke the person next to you or talk about whatever. I'm like, no, you got to really realize what the priest is doing.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's why we say, I feel like our program was very good with the mass because a lot of them stay, at least 25% of them stay back and go to mass after confirmation.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's definitely very beautiful because you're seeing, all that work and service you're putting in, you're getting that reassurance and sometimes we need it, to keep going because it's easy. Sometimes we get a little, ¿cómo se dice? Desanimado. Like, it happens, and I don't know, these kids, and I feel like these young kids also kind of give us life sometimes, They bring out like the inner kid in us.
Or they ask these questions that you have never thought about the church. Yeah. And you're like, oh, hold on, let me write it down. Let me get back to you. I'm not saying I don't know it. I just got to give you the right answer, even though we don't know. We're Googling it, right?
We're Googling it. Or usually I'll have them ready and I'll ask a priest as well. I'll be like, so then the kids had this question. I'm kind of curious too. It's a beautiful ministry.
And we're almost at the end of the show, but I told you we want to bring you back for the pro-life. But can we talk just a little bit about that so we can just bring them back down?
So yes, I work at a pregnancy crisis center. It's called ALAPS. And before I began coordinating for the group and I was just serving, I got an idea from a missionary who's on YouTube. His name he's so knowledgeable. His name is Cristian Huerta. And he had mentioned an idea. He's like, for el Día de la Virgen de Guadalupe, it would be beautiful if, a lot of people, we go take flowers, even like Cradle Catholics, like just traditional, you just go and take flowers to our Virgin Mary. He's like, wouldn't it be beautiful if that day you hosted a baby shower for the Virgin Mary because, she was pregnant with Jesus, and you bring gifts for a baby shower, but you donate those gifts to a pregnancy crisis center that helps women who are in crisis, who are in need, low income. And I love that idea. And again, my mom is the one who presented it to me. She's like, hija, mira este video, mira. And then I'm like, oh, wow. I'm like, Mom, that's a really good idea. So I brought it up to the leaders at the time, and they were very supportive. And then I met with the priest to, ask him for permission. He was very excited because he's very involved as well in the pro-life. So this priest, he really loved the idea about this baby shower. And so it's funny because he already knew about this organization called Lab, so he was very excited. And so they were announcing it at every mass on Sunday, and then the day finally came. Wow, so beautiful. We had a table outside, we had balloons, we decorated as if it was a baby shower. And then we had a portrait of Our Lady of Guadalupe. And we got so many diaper donations, clothes, basic necessities. And it was such a beautiful time to really witness that. And so then there we went, we donated them, and I saw this pregnancy crisis center, and I was just so moved when I walked in there to see and to hear all the work that they do there to help these women who are struggling, and that are actually, because of their struggle that they're going through, it could have been financially or maybe abusive, or maybe they're going through drug addiction, that this organization really cares about them, and they talk about their situation, and they find resources to help them, and of course accompany them during the pregnancy, which is, I think, the most important thing. And in just this walk with God, it's to accompany others. And so that's what this organization is focused on, to accompany these mothers who are going through this crisis, walk them through their whole pregnancy, and then even after they have their child, we still walk with them. And then we are giving them every month, we're giving them a few resources, diapers, wipes, basic necessities, because it's just, it's hard. And so, yeah, they're very grateful. We're actually having a gala on May 18 to share with all the donors. We're actually going to share some of the mother's testimonies, and they're going to get to see hear the mom's experience, and then see her with her child. And just an opportunity, like to continue helping this organization that's a nonprofit located in Los Angeles that's very close to a lot of abortion centers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just like a little safe place, where they can go talk about it without feeling judged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's very important. And so that's how you got involved, right?
Yes, that's how it started. Like, I knew I wanted to help with this cause because I knew how it affected women, how it affected mothers, how this innocent life is taken, but I didn't know what direction to go on, So this is what started it all, and I got connected with this pregnancy center, and a year later I'm working there. I get the opportunity to work there, and
wow.
Yeah, all right, so we're running out of time. So
okay.
How about we what would you tell maybe somebody that's out there, that's pregnant right now, and they don't know what to do? They're struggling with that society telling them one thing, the church is telling them another thing. How would you invite them to maybe go to the clinic?
Not a pregnancy crisis center.
Sorry.
So I would definitely tell these mothers that they're pregnant, that I know it's really hard right now, and you're panicking, and maybe you don't have the financial support, maybe you don't have the emotional support, but just know that there are a lot of people out there who would really love to help you, genuinely actually want to be there for you and your child. And whatever you're thinking of, whatever decision you're thinking of making, just know that this is your life, and there are really big effects, a lot of hurt and pain that is caused by abortion. And so before even going to that, I would invite you to take a chance to, call one of these pregnancy crisis centers, and then let them know about your situation, sit down with them, receive their counseling, see your options. There's so many resources. Anything you're going through, there's a solution to everything except death. So it's when you make a huge, major decision like this, take your time, speak to someone who really is looking for your best interests. And, a quick fix it's never good. And there's a lot of pain, psychological pain, spiritual pain, and physical pain involved in an abortion. So just take your time with it and reach out to any of us in a pregnancy crisis center. We're there to help you and not to judge you, and to help you.
Thank you, Wendy.
Wow,
Thank you. Yeah.
Kike?
Whew. Well, it's my time to cap this out for the show. Sorry, let me do it again. Woo. So it's time to, we got to the end of the show. Wendy, as always, thank you so much for joining us. I know you recently came back from a retreat. We were gonna get into that, but we didn't get into it, sadly. But we will get more into that journey of her experience in retreats, what she's done. Because I've attended some retreats at the same time that she has when she was in JUC.
Yeah, you gave a talk once.
Yes. I tried my best. but yeah, guys, again, thank you guys for being with us. But as well, thank you, Wendy, for being with us in today's show. Again, you're tired. I'm sure you just want to.
Thank you for having me.
You want to go eat and relax. Just take the rest of the day off. And Alonso, as always, thank you for also joining me in the show. Having these questions for our guests. And guys, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Like the video, share it to all your friends, cousins, loved ones, anybody out there that might be interested in this topic that we touched today with Wendy. We also have other podcasts out there. We have In Here Details with Alicia every Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning. We also have UVU every Tuesday with Dave at 8 o'clock in the morning. And also our newest production, which is how do you say it, Alonso? Chesed. The Word Made Flesh. Chesed, The Word Made Flesh by Edgar Avendaño, where he's actually reflecting on that Sunday's gospel. So again, guys, thank you for joining us and being with us throughout all these days, months, and episodes. I lost my train of thought there. But again, guys, thank you so much, and we will see you guys next time. God bless.